Hello again. This is the Rugged Angel podcast, and I am your host, Camila. I have been absent for a couple of weeks, but don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. It's just sometimes real life and adult responsibilities get in the way. One of those responsibilities is the Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project. As some of you may know, I am the producer for the Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project, and it's coming back here to Pittsburgh this year, 2015. Registration opens on May 5th online, and the kickoff filmmaking weekend is July 10th through 12th. Now, if you don't know about the 48-Hour Film Project, here's the deal. We give you a line of dialogue, a prop, a character, genre, and 48 hours to make a 4 to 7 minute film. And it is wicked awesome, because if you are into filmmaking in any way, shape, or form, or if you're into fun and creativity, this is the place for you. And if you're not in Pittsburgh, don't worry, because this goes on in like over 120 cities around the world. So I'm almost positive that there is one either in your city or within an hour's drive of you. So go to 48hourfilm.com and check out and find that city for you. And if it happens to be Pittsburgh, then go to 48hourfilm.com/Pittsburgh. And you can also check out our Facebook page, Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project. And we're also on Twitter at PGH 48-Hour Film. And like I said, registration opens on May 5th. Slots fill up fast. So you want to make sure that you sign up ASAP. And and all of the films get shown on the big screen. So that's just like another plus. All of your hard work will be adored and seen by family, friends, and your soon-to-be fans. So please, I want to see some new, fresh, creative talent come out this year. Not that I don't love all of my tried and true 48 hours filmmakers. I just want some new ones too. And that also brings us to episode 9 of the Rugged Angel podcast, where my guest is Jackie Druga. I met Jackie because she also competes. She competes in the 48-Hour Film Project just about every year. And but I had no idea that she was such an accomplished novelist. And when I found that out, I quickly invited her on the show to have a chat. Now, she has like over 80 novels under her belt. And the one that she is most known for is called Beginnings. And it's a series of several novels. And it all takes place, I believe, in a post-apocalyptic world. That is the genre that she hones in on. That's what she loves, the apocalypse. And some fun facts about Jackie that I managed to learn in our hour-and-a-half talk is that she pretty much knows how to wipe out the world, all the population on the world. She's been put on the FBI's internet blacklist. She's prepared for the apocalypse herself. So we all know to go to Jackie's house if things turn left, if things get rough. And she's also a fanalo. Now, I'm sure the fanalo thing has nothing to do with everything else, but I just thought that was interesting. She also has a podcast of her own called Apocalypse Nana, and it is on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. on the Prepper Broadcast Network. So take a listen, learn some more about Jackie Druga and her post-apocalyptic plans, and be entertained and educated and enjoy. The words of wisdom I have for you today are, don't wait for permission to do something creative. Ava DuVernay. I need you to eat the mic.
Eat the mic. That's what we have to do.
All right, cool. Jackie Druga, we're officially starting.
Okay.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I like your little bowl of lighters.
You never know. You don't want to be without. There's lighters and paper clips and tacks and sprees.
Oh, wow. You're all ready to go.
I usually have gummy bears here, but I'm all out now. Like I usually podcast with gummy bears when we do the Scandal podcast.
I do bourbon at my podcast.
All right, so Jackie, you're born and bred Pittsburgh, aren't you?
I am.
So, what parts of Pittsburgh?
I grew up inner city,
Mhm.
uptown area,
Okay.
and then my family moved to the Castle Shannon area, and I stayed in the uptown area with my grandmother because I loved it. That's where all my friends were at.
Mm.
And then I went on a band. I went on the road with a band when I was 18 years old, and then when I came back, I ended up getting married, and then living in the South Hills.
Did you play in the band?
I did.
What did you play? What
I
do you
sang
play?
and I played keyboards.
Really?
Hmm.
Do you still do that to this day? Or?
I did up until when you're old like I am, you have to I'll have to make sure I'm dead on this. When you're old like I am, you go through levels of entertainment. Like rock band, I want to be a rock star, and then you kind of mellow out and do acoustic acts, and then you kind of level off to do DJ work. Well, I thought, I want to play, and I want to sing, so I joined a Christian band.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Yeah, too many tentacles of the Satan, they said, were wrapped around me, so I couldn't worship Jesus because of what I write. So, yeah, but it was fun. I really had a good time doing that. The music is really uplifting, but I guess you got to be of a certain caliber spiritual person.
So they kicked you out.
They kicked me out, yeah.
Oh,
It's okay.
well, I mean, so now you're DJing?
Well, I was. Now I don't have time.
Because I know that you were doing that for a while. Like,
Oh my gosh,
around
I
the time when met you.
DJ'd from 2001 up until Duke Station in the South Hills closed in 2012. Yeah, 2013. And I kind of figured the end of his era would be the end of my DJ era because I ended up doing 4 or 5 days a week at Duke's, which was a full-time job for me. And that on top of working with Alzheimer's patients just took its toll. So when Duke's closed, I quit DJing. My son's still a DJ, but it was a lot of fun karaoke DJing.
Yeah. I did that for a summer. It was like, I mean, yeah, it was a lot. And just because the bar that I was at, and I don't know, it just was too much work for very little pay. And I had to go like all the way out to, I forget where, like almost Wexford to go pick up the equipment and then come back.
See, that was a pain in the butt. No, that's what Drew does. But Drew, luckily all my son's gigs are around where he has to pick up the equipment. Duke Station, the shows were there 7 nights a week, so there was no setting up equipment, no moving equipment.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And
that's the ideal.
It was, and the only problem that I had was while you would see a drink next to my DJ equipment, I didn't drink because I don't drink and drive.
Right.
So, I would have it there as showed, hey, you should have alcohol.
Yeah.
But I couldn't take the drunk people. The older I got, the worse I handled the drunks.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's it's not a good look for most. I would get.
Oh my gosh.
I would get girls who were like singers, wanted to be singers, and they would give me their demo CDs and it's like I'm just
a karaoke DJ.
I'm just doing karaoke, man. Like, do you want to sing a song or not? Can I cue up 99 Left Balloons for you, or can you just keep it moving?
I know. The thing is, like, I used to insult people really bad at my shows. Like, that was my stick. And I remember on
like
Bar
Coyote
Smart.
Ugly.
Yeah, I remember on Bar Smart, somebody left a review that, like, I was just picking on people left and right, and somebody came back. That's her show. That's why we go to her show, because we like to see her tear people apart. Awesome. Only one time that I actually like stopped my show for real. That's not including my nervous breakdown. But I mean, like, it was actually comical now that I think about it. But there's a man who I want to say he was limited, mentally challenged, yeah. And he got up to sing, and he came every Saturday night to sing at my show, and I let him tell a joke, and somebody in the bar yelled out something rude, and I stopped the show, and over the microphone I called this man out and put him in his place. Well,
nice.
I guess he thought, well, I'm going to go talk to the owner about this employee. Well, the owner I've known since high school, so he's like, and who did you direct this to? And I said, he was picking on Bob, and he's like, there's the door to the guy. You know what I mean? So, but that's it. And then there's my time during my divorce, my nervous breakdown, that I wouldn't let anybody sing like love songs at my shows. It was kind of pathetic, and when I made everybody,
no, you can't sing Endless Love.
Oh my gosh, I will always love you. I'm like, are you kidding me? Stop right now. And the girl's like, what'd I do? Just stop. And then I thought somebody took my lighter, and I stopped the show, made everybody empty their pockets. It was
Holy
they
cats.
Yeah, they thought it was a joke because the next week all these people came back each with a lighter.
That's awesome.
They was so they go, oh, it's just Jackie being Jackie again. No, it's not Jackie.
It's
It's
like, no,
nuts.
I
was nuts. I was nuts.
So you worked past your nervous breakdown.
I
Apparently.
did. It was short lived. Thank God.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That was at like
It was
around the
kinda-
time of your divorce.
It was. It was 4 months worth of like my kids were like, oh my God, mom's losing her mind. Because like I would cry on like Deal or No Deal. Oh my God, he's gonna give the $50,000 to his grandson. That's just so amazing. And what brought it was I was a mess. But it was like it was so crazy hot mess. Like doing weird things like stopping my show and yelling at people in my show, and they all thought it was part of my ordeal, but.
Well, it's a good thing it kind of came out
did,
that way.
it
You
did.
already had a precedent.
I laugh. Yeah, I laugh at it now. I mean, like back then, I wasn't laughing too hard. It's like,
Right.
But thank God it was short-lived. It was like a 4-month nervous breakdown. Yeah.
Okay. How long were you married?
Not much longer than 4 months. Yeah, honestly, it was like I have this habit of getting married, and
How many times have you been married?
well, my mom will tell you 4.
But that's not the case.
That's not the case. I've been married 3. She counts the one guy that I live with. I don't count him.
Okay.
Because like there was just something not right about him. He was I don't know, his IQ probably was if you add his shoe size combined. I mean, he was a big he was all right. My son calls him my midlife crisis.
Okay.
He was a lot younger than me. Like he was extremely good looking, but he was not very bright at all. He jumped out of a moving vehicle while I was driving.
Were you fighting at the time?
I
or
wasn't
just-
saying anything to him. I had just broken up with him because like he had this thing where he charged everybody $100. He was a brilliant carpenter. I will give him this. Like if you said, "Hey, can you build me a room?" He'd have it done by the end of the day. He just like focused. He was that good. He was like an idiot savant on carpentry. But then when he lost his job, he decided to take side jobs, which I thought was brilliant. But the first person said, "Hey, I need to build a porch. How much would you charge me?" And he'd be like, "Oh, I'll charge you $100 plus, cost."
What?
Okay, yeah, maybe
build a
because we
porch?
knew these people when they weren't, So the next person was like, "What would you charge me to redo this room?" $100 plus cost. Okay, the borough of Dormont's like, "Hey, we hear you cut down trees. We got this huge tree. How much will you charge us?" $100 plus cost. I pulled up on that street to watch him climb this tree, which had to be like 8 stories high. Okay.
Oh my God.
Say, please fall. Please fall. So he's up there with his chainsaw, right? He drops the chainsaw, cuts all the power lines, all the cable lines.
Oh my
They're all
God.
like going to find him because he's not insured.
Right.
He's like $100 plus cost. Hey, so I'm like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. For as attractive as you are just not smart enough for this whole entire relationship.
Right.
Like, I mean, the whole Carrie Edwards, thing. He couldn't get past the fact that Carrie Edwards was not one man. He was like, "Who's running with Carrie Edwards?" I mean, like, that's what I had to do it.
Wow.
So I broke up with him that night, and I'm like, just let me go. So I went out with my friends. I come in, he's standing in the parking lot. He was a nice guy, so I knew he wasn't gonna hurt me. I'm like, I will drive you somewhere, but after that,
This is it.
don't bother me again. So we're driving 35 miles an hour. Jumps out of the car. Right? This is a big guy, 6'4", 200 and some pounds. Jumps out of the car here. The dump. I'm like, oh. I hit stop.
Yeah,
I'm like,
at least you stopped.
I stopped. And I thought, what should I do? So I called my friend Mike. Instead of 911, I say, just jumped out of the car. He goes, is he moving? No. Call 911. What's the matter with you? So Mike was down the street. So Mike got there before the 911. So then it was like 6 months of him recovering from this head injury, which was very serious. And he had no family. So he had to stay with me, and he was like out of his mind. Like he was seeing things and back and forth to the hospital. Finally, I found his mother, and I sent him to his mother. But yeah, so he wasn't the brightest bulb in the bunch, and
That sounds like the worst.
he woke up from this, right? And I was driving and told the police that I pushed him from the car. Okay, little me,
Wow.
reached across
Right.
driving 35 miles an hour and somehow managed to hold the gas while kicking his big butt out the door. Didn't happen.
They
But-
They weren't.
Oh, they
buying it.
investigated, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, for real? Until a doctor said, like, hey, look, the fractures are consistent with rolling.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, that was like that was like totally nothing to do with writing or anything. But that's it's a fun story.
I know,
it's
right? Seriously,
how many
like,
people? Yeah,
10 minutes in, it's like
it's a fun story.
that is the craziest.
She contemplated driving away. I like, oh my god. He came back into the picture like to visit me like years later, and he had fallen off a roof, so he was like partially handicapped. I'm like, oh man, this man. He was told never to go on the roof again because of his head.
This guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's not as good looking as he used to be. He weighs like 500 pounds now.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So now he's really got nothing.
He got nothing.
Nothing to bargain.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so all right, I guess we'll get into why I called you here today.
Okay.
Your Twitter bio, and I quote, is eccentric and crazy writer. I create worlds only to destroy them in my novels.
Yes.
I love that. I absolutely love that saying. I haven't read any of your novels yet.
That's okay.
But I was shocked to find out that you had written so many. Like, I knew that you were a novelist, and I went to your website and I looked at it, and there was like pages upon pages of how many?
And I'm still told, like, every day, at least somebody tells you forgot to include this novel. Like, actor David Dietz had sent me a text saying, Words with My Father is not listed on your novels. I'm like, shoot, I forgot about that one. And it's out there. David does the audiobook for it. So
really?
He does a really nice job on the audiobook. But published right now, I think it's 88.
Wow.
Maybe more. I lost count.
When did you start writing?
Oh gosh, I call 3 phases of my life. My kid phase, where I was infatuated with Charlton Heston, so every short story I wrote had Charlton Heston in it, and one way or another. I may have renamed him like Steve or Bill or George,
right.
But he was always 6'3", blonde hair, Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
I loved him. I asked him to marry me when I was 10 years old, and never heard back. But
What?
and before he got sick with Alzheimer's, I got a letter in the mail, and I'm thinking, it's a white envelope. There's no return address on it. It just says, Jacqueline Druga Marchetti, which was my name at the time because I was another husband. But and I turned it over. It was a very thick envelope and embossed on the back said Charlton Heston.
What?
Yes. I didn't even open. I started screaming, and my daughter started screaming. I think this was because he got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I think, in 2003. It was before he got bad. He was still sick.
Okay.
So I opened up the letter, and here he had read an article that was written in the Trib where I totally was the inspiration behind me writing was Charlton Heston. And he was honored beyond belief to read the words that I said, and would be flattered, would love to read my book, The Shroud, at the time. I was like, oh my God, Charlton Heston wants to read my book. Wow. So I wrote him a letter, and I thanked him for this, because he gave me his personal address, and I told him in the letter that I signed the book in case one day he dreams of having my autograph, like I dream of having his. And I said, and back in, in the day I proposed marriage to you, just want to let you know that still stands in case, you're interested. So we actually became pen pals.
Really?
Always through letters. Handwritten letters.
That's wonderful.
I have them all. I have a shrine in my bedroom with Charlton Heston. But
how awesome is that?
Yeah, it was because he was such an inspiration. It was the greatest thing that has ever happened to me that I was pen pals with Charlton Heston.
That's awesome. Oh wow! So he just randomly read an article in the Trib.
Well,
where's he from?
He is from California.
Okay,
in Indiana originally, but my now defunct publisher of The Shroud had sent his publicist and his people a copy of the article and said, you have been an inspiration. We just wanted to share this with Charlton Heston. And he replied personally. And it was just like, it shows the class of who he is.
Classy.
Charlton Heston.
Right. I mean, personally, handwritten.
Anybody that knows me knows, like, I have a Charlton Heston doll.
They have Charlton Heston dolls?
Yeah,
Is it Charlton Heston, or is it like Charlton Heston in one of his roles?
It's Charlton Heston is from Planet of the Apes. And it's a collector's item. And when I bought it, I think, I had the original Steve Austin doll. I had the original Charlton Heston doll. I had all this. And then I had something called Sons and Grandchildren.
Oh, and they ruin everything.
Well, my grandson, I didn't get so mad about him ruining Charlton Heston. I went out and I found another one, The Steve Austin doll, I'm ready to kill my son Drew over. I don't know if you remember in the 48 production, we did that goofy movie, Revelation of the Scaly Kind. It was a cheesy flick based on a monster. It was like we pulled drama, so we decided to do drama and we did the words that didn't match up with the lips when they.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because we wanted to show the monster grabbing. Drew came up with this brilliant idea. Why don't we use Mom's Steve Austin doll, and the monster can grab the doll, and they broke my bionic arm on it, and you just can't get one now anymore.
That was like, why would? Okay, yeah, I would be pissed.
Yeah,
I'd be upset because you managed to keep that for how long, and then they just come.
I do have my Donny Osmond doll though. I still have that from 1969.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? I never got. Speaking of like childhood girly crushes, I never got like a Donnie Wahlberg doll. Like Donnie Wahlberg, New Kids on the Block. That was my.
You liked him?
Yeah, I was like, that was. Like,
oh my God.
That was like hardcore, and then like. And I don't know if I haven't told the story on this podcast.
Oh, good. I get to hear it.
So I was like 8th grade was when they were like really big.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I was really into them. And I had tickets to go see them in concert. But I lived in Toledo and the concert was in Detroit, which was like an hour away.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was a blizzard, so we could not go. And I was so devastated, so heartbroken. I had to like, give up my tickets and blah, blah, blah. So fast forward like 2012. 13, whenever these guys are like still singing and stuff and they're still releasing music, my husband bought tickets. They came to Pittsburgh. My husband bought tickets for me for my birthday.
Aww.
And then the show was in July, which is my sister's birthday, and so she came up from Atlanta and we went together. It was the best seats I've ever had at a concert ever. It was like right there, like here we are. There's the stage, and Donnie Wahlberg kissed me, and
my God,
I nearly passed out.
Oh my God.
So yes, that was.
That's awesome. It's like when I shook George Bush's hand, I almost pissed my pants.
Oh my God.
I was so excited. My daughter was like, "You're so embarrassing."
Did she like scream and like holler?
I did. George, I love you. And he was like, "Thanks." And he held out his hand. I was like, like a teenager. The whole thing was, my daughter was homeschooled because she just hated school. So, but I had a Republican convention party, and she picketed it in front of my house with her friends because with John Kerry signs and everything, they picketed my party. It was pretty great, and so that was a running thing between me and her. And hey, if that's your political views,
right,
I'm all for it because you know what, you're having one at 16 years old, or however old she was, and so my ex-husband, number 2 at the time, who I'm still good on terms with, he was at the Marriott. He goes, "Hey, you going to the convention?" And he says, "I got VIP seats for the convention." I'm like, the last rally I went to, they told me it was VIP seats. I was so far away. He goes, "No, I got this from George Bush's people." So we went. We were first row, and they're pulling people left and right from the audience to go on stage. I'm like, "What's wrong with us?" And I looked at the guy next to me, and I'm like, "Why are they taking people?" He goes, "Oh, they're just picking, melting pot of American people to put behind George on stage." I'm like, "Oh, well, we're with your family." We snuck on stage, and we're on stage during the whole rally.
Oh man,
yeah. So it was kind of fun because like nobody believed me until they saw pictures and they could see me. Like I'm like starstruck watching it, and there's my daughter all annoyed. It was a great time, but like it or not, it's the president of the United States, and you don't really get to meet the president of the United States, let alone shake their hand.
No, exactly.
So that's always I always have no matter who's in office, I have the utmost respect for them. So that's just
definitely. I'm not the president of the United States, so it's like
that's right. That's my attitude. That is my attitude.
Okay, so back to your novels.
Yes.
Did we discern when you started? Right.
Yeah. Okay. I was going. I just. This is what's wrong with my own podcast. I divert. We're supposed to talk about Survivor. We end up talking about things. There was a young age, I'm sorry, young age of short stories, and then I went to the phase of writing teenage novels when I was a teenager, and then I wrote short stories and songs and music, and then in my 30s. My then ex-husband had said, hey, look at all this writing. Why aren't you writing anymore? And I'm like, well, I got a rejection when I was like 19 and never wanted to do it. And he's like, you really should. I'm like, and then a couple months have gone by, and I'm like, Steve, I really think I do want to write. And this was probably 97, And so we were raising 4 kids, and oh my God, I don't know how we did it on that income.
Yeah.
He was a waiter, and I worked as a helps monitor. Help me, I've fallen, I can't
get up. Are you serious?
I'm like, yes, Mrs. Smith, we received your pendant. Yeah, that was me. That was me. I was that person that when you press that pendant, I answered. So, and I was working as a helps monitor, and he went out, and back then computers were expensive. So he took a loan. He got me this computer for like $3,000,
Oh my God.
which wasn't very much, you know.
Right.
Like, I mean, it was a lot of money, but the computer wasn't much.
Right.
And I started to write, and I became obsessive about it. And the first one was my beginning series, which was Silent Victor, which has been rewritten 7 times because the first version wasn't really that good. I mean, I actually just released the first version for my fan base to see how bad. And they're all like, well, we liked your ideas in it. Why did you change it? You know, like, well.
You said it's been rewritten 7 times.
7 times.
And you've just released the original?
The original. To go along. What I did was, oh my God, this took me months to do because I had a paper copy, so I had to scan it, thanks to my brother. And then I used a program that made it into a Word file. And I did hyperlinks to different things in the old book to the new book.
Nice.
So when they read on their Kindle, they can go, you know, here's an author note, why she changed this, where did this come from?
That's
like,
brilliant.
One of the main characters just died in a horrendous drop down an elevator shaft for no reason. I don't know what I was thinking. But, you know, and I gave her more of a heroic death in the following book. So it was a lot of work that, you know, and I'm going to say I put it online for sale, but I gave out probably about 1,000 copies of it. Man. Yeah, but the beginnings is my stable. There are 27 books in the beginning series right now. That's not including the sidebar books, like to deal with them as they were kids. And the beginnings was my writing process. I never intended anybody to ever read beginnings. Maybe the first book, maybe the second. But what I used to do is I used to write a book and then I'd write beginnings. Write a book and then I write beginnings because I love these people so much. And my friend Sonia, oh gosh, it was only a couple years ago, had read the first 2 books. And she goes, are there any more? I'm like, Sonia, I have a whole slew of these books. And so she read them. She goes, do me a favor, just put them out there and see what happens. Just put them out there. And I had put the first 3 books out there and then put what I call the raw files on my website, not knowing in 2 years what would become of like the following that this series has. And so I release them now, but everyone knows they at any time they can get it for free, and I only do it to I don't make much money off of the beginning series because these are the most dedicated fans. I mean, hey, if they bought the first 10 books, I'm not going to charge them for the next 10. I mean, so they know where they also have 2 versions.
God bless you.
They get the versions that are the raw files where so much of the storyline is different. So over the last 2 years, I've been rewriting every single one of these books to change up the stories to make it more up to date, to make the characters more, some of them more likable, some of them more hateable.
What's the premise of the beginnings?
Through a widespread global terror attack, a biological weapon is released and only 1% of the population survives. And the president is one of the 1%, and he knows of a place called the Garfield Project, which is an urban legend for real, that there is a community that is designed for the continuity of mankind that will start with the base of 50 people. You could build this community to reestablish the world. So he moves my people to this community, hence starts the series. So they're all Pleasantville and weird in this community where the world is falling apart outside.
Wow.
So that's what the series is.
That's really great.
So we're actually doing a web series on it right now. We just finished casting most of the roles, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm
So,
very interested to see more about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you have to, I'm going to add you to the group.
Yeah.
And it's a private Facebook group. I will add you, and it is I was so worried about posting these characters because I know what these people have the characters built like in their mind, and like, oh my God, they're gonna like hate this person, or please don't be mean to this actor.
Right.
But we have people like Philip Bauer. I don't know if you know who Philip Bauer
name sounds
is.
familiar.
Yeah, he's an actor in Pittsburgh, and David Orgadowski, who won. He's in it.
Oh,
so David is. I created a role for David.
Yeah.
Because he didn't fit what I had, so I hybrid a secondary character with a character that comes in later in the series to give David a role because he's such a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And he's such a great guy on the boards.
Yeah.
Like now he's like participating left and right. Philip is just taking on the one personality of the character, and he's out there. And Amy Lynn Elliott is one of the stars, and she's a phenomenal actress, and she's on there every day, like playing with the fans. And it's I think they're a little overwhelmed at how many people there are that like, hey, I'm entering a project
this
and
already has like this huge following.
Yeah, they're a little excited about it.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we're producing. I mean, like, it was the hardest was finding an Asian actor.
In Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. I could not
Yeah.
find one. So Edwin Hung,
Yeah.
he's going to be in my series.
Is
He actually auditioned. It was so funny. Who was it? David found him. David got him. He's not much of an actor. And I'm like, he's a filmmaker. He's got to have it in him.
Right.
You know, we all have it in us.
There's got to be something,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, like, I will cut Henry's lines to very basic lines if need be. His presence needs to be there. So not only does Ed send in this audition, it's edited. Because it's Ed, you know?
Right. Because that's how he
They
rolls.
actually took the audition sides and went to where it would look like, it was like...
Typical Edwin.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, he's going to do a fantastic. He really has the natural talent and the expressions.
Yeah.
He's going to do a great job. He really is going to do a great job.
I'm pretty excited about this. When do you guys start?
We start shooting in May, mid-May through
wow.
June. I'm pretty optimistic about the scheduling because several of the locations are one-day shoots. Like, so we got to do like a 48-hour thing. Like our clinic shots, although they appear over 3 episodes, we only get the clinic in the hospital for one day.
Oh.
So, but I mean, it's a web series, so each scene is less than a minute. So with good rehearsal, we should be able to go in there and pound out these scenes.
Like how long is each episode are you looking to make?
They're all 10 minutes long.
Okay.
And the only reason I did not write 4 through 6 was because we didn't have that cast yet. So I didn't know who we were casting. Beginnings has a cast of like the actual book, 50 people.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so I knew I needed to get so many different people, but I couldn't write them in unless I knew, you know, I have them. And we have there are 2 main characters, Joe and his son Frank. And Frank was going to be the hardest character, and we did find our Frank, but now there's scheduling conflicts. So, you know, if there's any dark-haired guys with goatee that could play big and dumb, just, you know, find me and let me know. Yeah, just in case we have to recast.
What age?
30s.
30s.
30s. Unless they're like early 30s and look older, it's the apocalypse. But this is the
Gotcha.
hero. This guy is in every single episode. And so,
Oh, man.
you know, I hate
What-
to see him make a choice.
And how...
Because
I don't know. I'll have to talk... Because I know a guy who lives in New York who is like... I don't know if you
Well, see, yeah. I mean, like, I'm paying for travel and everything because, like, I'm actually financing this whole project. And so my hopes is to take these 6 episodes because we have pitching opportunities to sci-fi. Because I sell so much with Amazon, they want to take a look at it. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. So what my hope is, you know, is to get the 6 episodes to invest and get these people paid full wages.
Well, shoot. I don't know if it's possible, but yeah. So big guys,
I
dark
mean,
hair.
we could do a lot, as you know. We could do a lot with camera angles.
Yes.
And lifts in a boot. So he can't be like, he can't be 5'5". Okay,
Right.
he has to be a big presence, is what he has to be, and he's the most loved character in a series next to his father, and we got a dead ringer for everybody's. I mean, like when I saw this actor, Bob Ferrance, I saw him. I was like, oh my God, please let him be able to act because he's Joe. He's Joe, and everyone's like, now everyone calls him Joe. I mean, like the other problem is he's not a computer guy, so he's barely on Facebook. We have to actually call him. We can't text him or email him. I don't like look at the phone going, call somebody on this phone. How the heck do I do that?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this and to see how this pans out. So, you start shooting in May.
Yes,
and
mid-May.
you're doing like the first 4 or
We're
first
6 now.
episodes.
Like I said, Drew's. I'm optimistic. I have us shooting in 6 shoots because of the locations. Drew, who is my son, working with me on it, and Noah, they're not as optimistic. They're saying 7 or 8. But I think they're wanting to spend more time on the outdoor shots, which is okay, you know, because most of our, I mean, like the ones that have the most time requirements are Frank and Joe. And Joe, the guy that's playing Joe, is retired, so you know, I'm really happy about that.
Well, that's
you wouldn't know to look at him that he's retired.
Yeah.
He's like Clint Eastwood hot.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and it was so funny because I was reading with him, and my son helped me off the stage because it was really high. And he turns around to this guy. Imagine doing this Clint Eastwood and go, "Sir, do you need some help?" And he just wanted to kick my son's butt for even asking.
No, I don't need any help.
What's the matter with you? Sorry.
So, where can we get beginnings or any of your books? Actually?
Just so you know, if any of your listeners are interested in reading Beginnings, the first book is free to anybody that that says, "Hey, I want to read it." Join the group. It's posted in the group free. It's on Amazon. I keep it at 99¢, and I also have this thing where, and my friends are all going to yell at me again, but I do this all the time. But if you want to read it, and don't let cost be your problem, just email me. I'll send you the series. Or I'll send them as it goes because it's Beginnings. And I promise you, once you get dragged into this world, you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave. That's and exciting. These fans, they may get the books for free, but they spread the word about my other works. And, that's,
I'm definitely going to read that.
Beginnings is fun. It gets fun around book 3 when the frozen scientists are uncovered underneath the complex and the killer babies. And it's just it's a lot of fun.
So you have a common theme, throughout most of, if not all of your novels. They're all in the post-apocalyptic world?
I'd say 70% are post-apocalyptic. I do a lot of chick lit, like Nicholas Sparks type thing. Yeah, I have some. They don't sell. And they're actually better written than my post-apocalypse. Like the book Bob is. I've had people write, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you wrote this book. It's so funny." I've had people tell stories that they were at the doctor's office laughing out loud. Bob is about a ghost. And what it was a take on, what if because my Beginnings characters are so real, what if Frank, the hero of the Beginnings series, was actually a ghost that inspired the writing? And that's what Bob has to deal with. But the only thing is this little girl's the only one that could see this ghost, and the whole thing is, it's a really funny book. Bob is a really funny book.
Wow.
And so my post-apocalypse stuff is good. My comedy and my 49 Shades of Pink is... I think it's one of my best books. It deals with this eccentric, effeminate gay poet, total liberal, who wakes up in his parking lot of Starbucks, doesn't know that he's been passed out, and when he comes to, they tell him that he's not Felix, the poet. His name is actually, I can't remember, was it Felix Bernstein, the CIA Republican, married, conservative with 3 kids. So he spends this entire novel trying to prove that he's not this opposite. And I tell people, that's a nightmare. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, the whole thing is he's married with kids, and it's a fun novel.
Wow, man, that sounds fun. So you've got them all listed on your website, and your website is
JacquelineDruga.com.
Correct. And these also are available on Amazon.
Yes, and they can go to beginningsbooks.com to find out all you want to find out about this. It's an interactive website. It has a artificial intelligence bot that that people argue with, because I do get to see the transcripts, and it's funny to watch the arguments.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Excuse me. I spent months programming this bot.
Yeah.
And still people come up with ask questions that I haven't thought of, and so they're trying to talk to this bot, and the bot is coming back with really sarcastic comments, and they're arguing with it. But that is a total interactive website. You can click on different locations on the map and find out. Yeah.
Oh, that's super fun. So, and I also noticed on either on another bio that you've appeared on the History Channel as a bio-warfare expert.
I was a bio-warfare authority, yes.
Well, tell me about that.
Oh my gosh. So I get this email, all right, and it said Brad Meltzer decoded as a History Channel. Okay, so I'm like, okay, it's an ad. And I was like, you get this American,
right.
It's an ad. So just because it didn't go in my spam, I clicked on it, and here they're like, we're interested in having you on the show. We're doing a 2012 apocalypse thing, and could you give us a call? I'm like, so first, you do your Googling, who is this producer?
Exactly.
This people really. And so I called him up, and so we started talking, and he's like, and here's how I found you. I was just looking up apocalypse books, and every time I looked up, your name popped up. He's like, so I'm like, who is this woman? He says, so I started looking more, and he's like, we want you to come on and talk about biological warfare. And so he's like, what is the most interesting thing that you've come across? I'm like, Ebola pox. Ebola pox is a hybrid that Russia developed, and it's a combination of Ebola and smallpox.
Ugh.
And it's a biological weapon, and back in 1992... 20 scientists, when they disarmed the biological weaponry, 20 scientists disappeared with this weapon. And, that's what I had to talk about on the History Channel. They flew me out to California. put me up in a hotel, gave me a production assistant to follow me around. It was a lot of fun.
What was the program?
This is the end. Wait, The End Is Now by Brad Meltzer. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Talk about black blood.
That sounds like it was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
It's really okay. So you probably spend a lot of your time just researching.
It's ridiculous what I research.
Just biological warfare.
I get scared to research because
How are you not like just afraid of?
Well, especially since
like
I'm on
completely
I
paranoid.
am on the FBI list. I mean, like, okay, I'm old, so my stories go way back.
Okay.
I had a website when I first started writing. It's called gojake.com, which I still can't get back. And I used to use it as a writer pitch website. This is back before this is 2001, before people really were on the internet. And I would put synopsis of my stories up there. Well, then 9/11 happened, and my website went down because I had the synopsis of a screenplay called Destination New York about terrorists that hijack a plane and fly it into New York City.
Oh my God.
So at that point, I had to send over all my research, who I spoke to the FBI, send them the screenplay. I'm like, well, mine's not the same thing because, I since learned that a terror attack is not about the damage as much as it is about the presentation. And I had my plane fully, like, if the terrorists would have driven the plane directly into the ground, it would have detonated at 5 times the Hiroshima bombs in New York City, just flattened it.
Really?
Yeah. So, it was all about the show. It really was. Even though there's tragically all the lives lost. So I had to send in all my research. I had all the aeronautics people I spoke to and sent that in. They never really upped my website again. But then in December, I get a letter asking if, this is from the newly formed Homeland Security, if I were a terrorist, what original way would terrorists attack the United States? I thought everybody got this letter, right? Give your ideas of how.
Shut up. It's like, first I would need to be put on a payroll.
Well, they were looking, and here, Tom Clancy got the letter. They wanted.
See, that's what I always thought. I always figured that was the kind of, like, go to Hollywood, go
Yep.
to the writers and find out.
Exactly it.
Like, because these people are building these worlds to destroy.
And because I had written that screenplay 3 years before it actually happened, they came to me about it. I actually have rejection letters from producers saying, a flying bomb, LOL. I have one.
Wow.
Yes. So.
Suck it.
I wanted to frame that one. But so I told him about my rice and poison theory at McDonald's. That one way to wipe out a lot of people.
The rice and poison in McDonald's.
Yeah, rice and poison is made from the castor bean. And
I did learn that from Breaking Bad.
yeah, and there's no antidote if you ingest it. And McDonald's drive-through sprinkled on some French fries during lunch hour, you'll have hospitals overfloated within like 2 hours.
Oh my God. So basically what Jackie is saying is don't fuck with Jackie because she knows how to wipe out.
I have to continuously come up with new ways to end the world. Although one of the best selling things I do are biological warfare. People like my take on viruses.
Wow.
Yeah, because the flu novel just caused people to sob all the way through.
The flu.
Oh my God, yeah. It causes me to sob. I can't read it. But I mean, like,
because it's so common.
It is such a heartbreaking novel that, like, anyone that'll tell you, like, if you read any of the reviews, they'll tell you grab a box of tissues.
Oh my God.
And I promised my fans I would never ever write another novel that sad again. I lied.
Never.
Yeah, there's going to be another one coming out this fall that will probably rival it.
Do you go to conventions and stuff?
I used to. I did last year. Last year was crazy with conventions. It was like, I almost was scared that I wasn't going to be able to make the 48-hour like premiere because I knew I was coming back from 48 hours. I was coming back from Ohio the day before. It was just crazy. It was insane.
So
I won't do it this year, though.
You're not doing it anymore this year? Because I don't even know. Like, are there a lot of book conventions? Because I just saw that, like, Read Pop, they do a lot of comic conventions and other conventions, and they just they're just now doing a book con, and I think it's in New York, and it's this summer, I think, and they've got, like, all these names on there, but I just thought
it's about networking. You really don't.
I didn't think
sell.
that it was.
You don't sell much here. I mean,
I think it's just mostly for fans to come and.
you don't really sell much at there.
Because everybody's already a fan
yeah.
at that point to come in and see
I've
you.
had people bring books, like when I do Scranton, bring books to Scranton for me to sign. So, I mean, it's all about the presence, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I am not this year. I don't have the time for it. I really don't, and especially with beginnings, and we're going to shoot that, and then what I'm hoping to do is, which I know I probably can, is get the Hollywood Theater to do a premiere of all 6 episodes as one.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, I'll get that together because I know I'm so glad for 48 hours because like that has given me the experience that hey, we got this set for 5 hours. I know in 5 hours what I could do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have finished entire 48-hour film projects in less than 5 hours.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you're an old champ. You know how to do this. You know how to go about this. Okay, so basically, what we've learned is to don't fuck with Jackie because she could wipe out an entire population.
I could. And I'm sure that's like clinging somewhere. Yeah, that's clinging somewhere. There she goes again. Shut her down.
So let's talk about Apocalypse Nana.
Oh my God, I love my show. I want to do a podcast, and on a whim, I saw this ad on Blog Talk Radio, and looking for hosts that would do self-reliant episodes. So I sent the guy an email, and he sent me back saying, "Oh my God, I just checked you out. You're exactly who we want." I'm like, I have a lot of survival knowledge. I mean, like, you come to my house, you know you're going to survive for at least 3 weeks, any event, okay? Because of my addiction to grocery shopping. Plus, my supplies. But I said, he says, they got to be self-reliant. You got to teach people. So the show went from a very informative show the first week to veering way off a topic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we try to give one important tip. This week we're going to be discussing those big giant holes that are appearing in Russia. About the aliens that are coming out. They're here somewhere. But we're going to talk about this. It'll be way off it. We'll discuss how to survive an alien, invasion. But that'll last like 3 minutes. And then we do what's called the Flash Fame game, where I pick celebrities, and you got to choose who you would want to survive with in the apocalypse.
Interesting.
Based on skills, not on looks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're trying to procreate.
Right. Well, it's amazing to hear some of our guests' reactions to who they would pick. I mean, like, you would think a lot of the males would come on and I give them a choice between a female and a male. They pick the males because of the likelihood of surviving.
Well, who are some of your favorites that you've heard so far of, like, to pick to survive?
I had a very, very, I want to say, vocally animated minister, Baptist minister on my show.
Okay.
And
that was like, what, a 5-hour show?
Oh, well, it's so funny. Oh my gosh, I was so worried about that. And I'm like, everybody, nobody swear. Everybody, and get ready. I'm terrible at interrupting somebody when they talk. Okay, Rob, my co-host, who's become my co-host, is a queen at it. I'm like, he'll interrupt and change the subject just to get them off. We were so fearful and ready for the Reverend that we weren't ready for when his choices were like, I don't remember who the one was, but the other one was Mariah Carey. And he chose Mariah Carey because he could have a lot more fun with them boobies in the bunker. And I was like dying. We lost it. Oh my gosh! And that was like one of my favorites because I did not expect that.
No, that's like out of nowhere.
And but yeah, we have like Rob always judges who he would eat in the apocalypse if he ran out of food. Who is more healthy, so he could be a cannibal.
Out of celebrities?
Yeah, that's he always said.
I don't know if I could do that. If I could,
like last week was like we'll do like Jim Carrey versus Drew Carey. Who would you want to be in a zombie apocalypse?
Oh God, that's tough because
they're both bad.
Yeah,
they're both bad, and you have.
I don't
see
Drew surviving too well, but Jim, I feel like
I would kill him. I would kill him.
Like day one.
Oh my God, I think he would lose his mind in the bunker.
Yeah,
I think he would. I think that Drew Carey would be bait in the zombie apocalypse, but
yeah, he's the one to. So it's like, all right, so we're going out to go scavenge some stuff. We're gonna need you to stay here.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like, oh. It's amazing how people break down their reasonings and their responses. Yeah. Like we put there's Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Sylvester Stallone, and people broke it down and
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, that's who I would pick.
Because he's a little more svelte.
Yes.
Then Arnold's gonna lag behind a bit.
Can you imagine what
too
Arnold's
much-
going to look like? Both of them are going to look like after Botox is like just done.
Oh God.
No, Sylvester Stallone has stopped getting Botox for 8 years.
Has he?
Yeah,
he's
he
like
did.
drooping now.
Yeah,
It's like
he's
melting.
trying to let his natural.
It's
look
too late,
come.
bro.
It's too late. You know what? You're gonna melt. You're
Yeah.
gonna melt.
Yeah, you
That's
should have
just so
thought about
great.
that 8 years ago.
You know, that's what's so great about people that get Botox. If the world ends tomorrow, you're just gonna look like one of those mutants when it's all said and done.
You are done.
You're done.
Oh my God. Okay, I like this game. Give me one. Give me.
Okay. Let's say your apocalypse is nuclear war.
Okay.
Would you pick Matt Damon or Tom Cruise to survive a nuclear war apocalypse?
Matt Damon. He's much smarter than Tom Cruise. I feel like Matt Damon has already been. I feel like he's already well versed in nuclear tactics and survivals, and he already knows what's up.
Now that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Tom Cruise, I think, is too pampered.
Yeah, exactly.
He's way too pampered.
He would break down within like the first 12 hours, and he'd be no good.
I usually have them in my phone. Hold on. Unless we deleted them or something. Oh, okay. Let me give you one more.
Okay.
Ben Affleck versus I can't pronounce his last name.
Joe Manganiello?
Yes.
Oh. Joe.
He doesn't seem real bright. Yeah. Like, Joe, go. Joe, you see that big dead guy wandering out there with the big baseball bat and nails? Ask if he wants to come in. Yes,
No, I've talked to him a couple of times. He's a very bright. He could survive. He'd be good. And you know what? He could carry me.
You know what's so funny? How many people read my book, In the Heavens Shall Fall, and said, oh my God, if it's ever becomes a movie, you got to get him to play Jude.
Yeah.
Because Jude's a really dumb character. And I'm like,
Y'all gonna leave Joe alone.
Jude is a 32-year-old virgin in my book. And it's like
There is no way the Joe Manganiello, if he were dumb, no matter how dumb.
Jude is this really hot guy, so nobody bought that he's a virgin, but every time he got near a woman, he got so nervous he threw up, so he never got the opposite.
I think that Joe could play that role because I feel like there's some sort of humor.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor to it.
And
there's always humor.
He's funny. He can do that.
Always humor in my apocalypse books. You gotta always have humor.
You gotta have a little laughter. With
Like
the
in my
tears.
newest one, Immune, like there's like a zombie-like apocalypse, and these people are very deadly, but they're not dead yet. And there are certain people that are immune, and they're like invisible to the infected. So the one guy trying to protect his grandmother pisses all over her, and it works. He feels.
Oh my God. Okay, so my God, I'm definitely going to check out Beginnings.
Okay.
And I'm going to start reading some of your books. And yeah, please add me to your.
Oh,
your
you'll have
board
so
for
much
the,
fun
for
there.
the webisodes. For the webisodes, because I'm really interested to seeing how that all pans out. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with your top 5.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick a question out of this book that I have, 4,000 Questions for Getting to Know Anyone and Everyone.
Oh, great.
Did you know that the Rugged Angel podcast is part of a network of podcasts? Down to Watch is a husband and wife team that chats about music, movies, and TV shows, but has a soft spot for one-season wonders and cult classics. The Scandalized podcast is a group of friends who gather together to get their feelings out after each episode of the Shonda Rhimes hit Scandal. All 3 are Rugged Angel productions and can be found on soundcloud.com/ruggedangel and at ruggedangel.com. You can follow Down to Watch on Twitter at DTW Podcast or like Down to Watch Podcast on Facebook, and you can like the Scandalized Podcast on Facebook as well.
Nothing.
Okay, so we're back, and there are a couple things there's one thing I forgot to mention to you or ask you about. What is your survival plan if there were to be some sort of... Let's just say because Walking Dead season finales tonight, let's say a zombie apocalypse.
Well, we do have a farm that's designated for us to go to. I actually
Really?
have a community of people all planned out. I have 2 pilots that could airlift in case of a... Oh, I planned this out.
Holy cats.
I have 2 pilots. One is really cute.
So he serves 2 purposes.
He serves 2 purposes. I have nurses, teachers, scientists, worker bees, security.
Damn, girl.
Yeah, it's been in place for about 15 years. The list grows and adjusts, but there are core people that know what they are to bring and where we are supposed to go and what we're supposed to do.
Son of a. Well, damn. Congratulations for that. Jeez.
Thanks. I'm kind of disappointed if the apocalypse doesn't happen in my lifetime. It probably won't. I'm ready, though. I pretend well.
What were your feelings when everybody was all scared about Y2K?
It's so funny because I got the phone call from my husband, too. And I just dropped the kids off at school. And I was laying down to take my nap because I write all night. I don't sleep at night. And he's like, I hate to wake you up, but your book just came to life. And I'm like, this is before anyone knew it was a terror attack. And he's like, what do you think? I said, oh, this is deliberate. When I saw the first one in the tower, within hours, people were showing up at my house. I'm like, people, this is not the apocalypse. This isn't it. You know, they're like, aren't you gonna put duct tape on your windows to seal them? I'm like, this is not the apocalypse. It's not gonna happen like that. You know, I think more likely if we face an apocalypse, it's going to be some sort of astral object coming into Earth. Yeah, I think that's it. If you haven't seen the movie These Final Hours yet, most definitely watch it. It's on Netflix. It reminds me of On the Beach. The movie On the Beach, which is an old one, but it's really, really a good movie. These Final Hours. It's really worth watching.
Where did this fascination come from? I mean, can you pinpoint one?
Yes.
What?
My mom. She was afraid of the end of the world to the point where she was obsessive with it. Wouldn't come out of the house and the basement. So my dad's like, hey, look, you're nuts. Let's take you to a doctor. And back in that day, the doctor's like, well, you know what'll solve it? Get pregnant. She got pregnant with me. It was like a fetal maternal blood transfusion of paranoia. And I have been obsessed with it since, for as long, my mom will tell you, for as long as she can remember. I played bomb shelter in the basement. I remember we had moved out in the country for like 6 months because my mother couldn't take it after that and moved back to the city. And there was a tornado warning, and I'm like, guys, I got supplies in the basement. So I went in the basement. I was 8. Nobody came. I was down there for like a whole entire day, and nobody noticed I was down there for an entire day. They just let her go. Let her go with her canned goods down there. I was down there with my canned goods. Oh, yeah. And I was ready. I've been ready for as long as I can remember.
That's funny that you say that about that you got it like through... Like while your pregnancy, just kind of an asthma. What do you call? What'd you call it?
Fetal maternal paranoia transfusion.
Yeah, because I often feel like I've gotten things like that because I have this. It's not really a fear of water, but I don't know how to swim, and my mom almost drowned when she was pregnant with me, and I just panic anytime I get like underwater or anybody tries to teach me how to swim. I just panic, and I've never had any sort of bad experience in my lifetime with it, like almost drowning or anything like that. And
I firmly believe that something like that will transfer to the baby.
Right.
It really does. I mean, like, of course, my mom was scared of water too. It's like, I think that's the age group. It all depends where you grow up.
Well, it's like she wasn't even scared of water. She just actually almost drowned
while she was pregnant.
Yeah, while she was pregnant.
Wow, and that's so cool. Not cool that she was drowning. I mean, like that you got Thanks, that fear. But we have that shit. I mean, like my mom thought the world was going to end,
right?
And I become obsessed with it.
Right.
Now she thinks I'm just crazy.
Now she thinks you're crazy.
Well, okay, for a while she's like, "There's something wrong with my daughter." When I was on the History Channel, she's like, "Oh my God, and people watch this." She didn't get it at first. She didn't get it. She didn't get that I actually was making money at writing until I had to bail my sister out of jail. And I was like, something stupid. It was something stupid. Right. And I was like the only one that could go there at that moment and bail her out of jail. And I was like, well, you're actually doing good with this writing thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's worked out. It's working out well for me.
It's working out well. I don't work a day job, Mom.
All right. So let's get on this random question.
Okay.
If you were imprisoned wrongly and then set free, would you seek revenge?
Just financial revenge. I mean, I think if it was 10 years ago, I would. I would. But I've become such a changed person in 10 years. I'd have to take that experience and grow from it. What did I learn? Because I'm sure I would have met a lot of nice people in prison. That would eventually be characters. I look at it all as a networking. I actually just broke into the prison reading thing. So I mean, like,
you did what now? Oh,
I got my books in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I wouldn't seek revenge. I would try to compensate my family for it in one way or another, but I would use it to my advantage in one way or another. 10 years ago, I probably would have found out who did it. And
Well, plus, like, yeah.
you mellow with age.
Yeah, and I guess you wouldn't really be suffering too much financial loss whilst in prison
Right.
at this point in your life because your books are already out there
Can
selling.
you imagine how much I would make author,
Oh,
oh my
yeah.
God, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, actually, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it would work
All
in
right,
my
cool.
favor.
So we're going to get to the top 5 now.
Okay.
And I assigned Jackie her top 5 authors. Now, I'm a slacker, and I forgot to do my own research for my own list, so I'm just going to do, like, the last 5 books, favorite 5 books that I read.
Oh, okay.
Out of the books I read. So we'll go to your list. We'll do you first.
Let's go with lesser known authors first.
Okay.
Craig DeLuey. He writes horror. He does books such as Stuff with the Children, which is a really, really good one. Infection, Tooth and Nail. He does a lot of zombie fiction, a lot of hard to read fiction because it delivers a lot of painful truth. I like Craig a lot. I got to know Craig. I actually gave him a book blurb for his last book, but he's with Simon & Schuster or Random House, one of the two, and he's a really good author. I highly recommend, if you like horror, to read Craig's book. If you like gay erotica with such a sick, twisted twist, it's R.W. Klinger. I will recommend it. He is the reason that I write first person as well as I do, because he's been my friend for 20 years. He's the number one guy who I'll read no matter what it's about. And I don't think there's anybody that writes first person narrative better than him. I mean, he's just the master at it. And I couldn't do it to save my life until he actually helped me write first person. And that's like usually what I do best now.
What is the difficulties that you had with writing first person?
Connecting. I think a lot of people think it's easy to write first person, and it can be, but you've got to make that person reading the book actually believe they are listening to you talk and get across. And you're so limited in your views, like especially with my stuff, it's global events.
Right.
So in the Sleeper series, I've done some really good first person books. And people like reading my first person. I feel very limited, but it's very difficult because you have to make sure you have a connection to you and your audience.
Okay. Number 3 on your list?
Number 3 on my list is Ernest Hemingway.
Ooh, a classic.
He's a classic, and he is such a hero. You know the Ernest Hemingway story, right?
I don't think I do.
Ernie's 6'3", and
you like a big dude?
I like the big guys, and you wouldn't know that my last husband was like 5'5". So Ernie's in World War I, right? And he gets shot in the shoulder, and gets shot in the leg, and the medics are carrying him out from the trenches when a mortar goes off in the trenches. Ernest Hemingway gets thrown from the cot, sees all these injured men, carries them out one by one while he's shot out of the trench, carries out over 20 guys out of the trench. Gets out of there, 210 pieces of shrapnel were in his body, along with the bullet wounds, and he did all this.
Wow.
So he is an amazing man. No wonder he drank himself. And he still had over 100 pieces of shrapnel. They never got out of his body through his whole life. So, yeah. And so he put a lot of that pain and what he experienced in words on page. So
yeah.
I love Ernest Hemingway.
Man. Wow.
Stephen King, the master, would be the next.
Obviously.
Although he went through this phase where I didn't like his work, I think he's given us all of us writers, an excuse. I say because like he does the worst endings sometimes I've ever seen in a book. I think he just gets done and he finishes the book like with The Cell. He just got done, with The Cell or spoiler alert on it, The Spider. I mean, I think
I don't think I've actually read a Stephen King novel.
Read The Mist. It's a short novel.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Read the novel and then be grateful you saw the movie.
Okay.
Because the ending of the movie is so much better than the novel. The novel has a totally different ending. Has a totally different. I didn't want to see the movie because I didn't like some of the things that happened in the book. But I was glad I did.
Huh.
I was glad I did.
I will look at the
And my top is Pat Frank.
Pat Frank.
He wrote a book called, it was the first apocalypse book I read called Alas, Babylon. And it was written in 1957. I wasn't born in 1957. But he wrote this book, and it was required reading when I was in high school. So when I got to it, I was like, oh, I love this book, And I have, like, several different editions of it, like, with the different covers. And it depicts the small town in Florida after nuclear war and how they survived. And he also wrote How to Survive the H-Bomb, which is such a great book because it's so dated. Like, you know, make sure you pack lots of tresses because you don't want to. You want to change your clothes often in the bomb shelter. It's so great.
Nice.
I have that book. I mean, like, it's a collector's. Right now, it goes on eBay for like $1,000.
Oh,
I
man.
have this book, yeah.
Wow. And it's like, you said 1957?
It was The Last Babylon. H-Bomb, I think, was 58.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's so dated. It is so great. I mean, like, it really tells you. And this, think about it. I follow this rule. Be clean in a bomb shelter. Because if you feel good about yourself, your mood's going to be good. So I don't understand why Walking Dead doesn't bathe. Every survivor they come into, did you notice, is clean.
Yeah.
But our people are grimy
They
and dirty.
never take the time to just go dip in a lake or
No,
somewhere and
I
just
don't get it.
wipe your face off or what. And I just, and just thinking about what, like, the underwear situation.
Yes. How bad they
it's gotta
smell.
be like, oh, God.
You know, and
I just can't imagine.
not to be really gross, but I mean, like, Abe and what's her name, Rosita had relations.
Yes.
Could you imagine? I mean, it's just,
There's
they don't
no
bathe.
way in
There's
the
no
world.
Way. No.
Ugh.
Oh,
It's just-
no. There's no way.
That's all that I could think about when they were having that
Me
sex
too,
scene. I'm
me
like,
too.
these people have not bathed in how long? When was the last time they brushed a tooth?
And then there's Eugene, like 5 feet away. You knew he had to be going. Yeah. I mean, like, they don't bathe. Everyone else found time to clean up, to wash. Just from a hygiene point of view, to lessen your chances of being sick.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
wash your. Yet the baby is impeccably clean with clean socks every single week. I can mop my floors, and my grandchildren still have the dirtiest feet I've ever seen in my life.
And I don't understand how they managed to get so many baby clothes.
I need
And-
diapers.
Yeah, and diapers.
Diapers.
And that's another thing. And every time they go raid a house, they're looking for food, you guys can't take some time to, like, get a new pair of pants? Or, you know, I'm sure these people have left clothes behind.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a Sam's Club warehouse somewhere that hasn't been hit. I mean, this is a zombie apocalypse. There may be zombies, but there's not going to be in this warehouse. There's lots of
Yeah.
places they have not hit.
Yeah.
I think it was bad writing on their part for that. So.
Yeah, especially a lot of those, like the little communities, like those cul-de-sacs that they end up
Yes.
in. Like, all those houses have all sorts of supplies, I'm sure.
They just never hit them.
All right, so, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I guess my list is just kind of weird. I guess just 5 books that I really enjoy.
Okay.
5, Fight Club.
Okay.
Chuck, I never know how to say his last name. Palahniuk.
I'm like,
I read the book after I saw the movie. That's like, Fight Club is like one of my top 5 most favorite movies
it's a great
ever.
movie. That's a great.
And I wish I had read the book first, just because I don't like picturing the movie while I'm reading the book. Like, I'm already like picturing
Right.
those actors in my head. So, but the book was great. I liked it. And I read a couple other Palahniuk stuff, Choke and some other, get into it as much as Fight Club. All right, the next book is Self-Inflicted Wounds by Aisha Tyler.
Okay.
And that's sort of like, have you ever seen her or like listened to any, you watch Archer at all?
No.
Okay. Well, she's this comedian.
Okay.
And I always
Oh.
kind of identify with her because, like, I always thought that, like, people always tell me, like, that would be my celebrity doppelganger.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And her sense of humor, like, everything, like, is just, like, spot on. I feel like I could totally hang out with her. And she has a podcast where at the end of it, she has her guests tell their self-inflicted wound story. And this book is just like what the tagline is, the heartwarming tales of epic humiliation.
Oh my gosh.
And so she just goes on these random story, like each chapter is a different story out of her life where she just like screwed the pooch basically herself, and it's just hilarious. Like, I think you should.
I will pick that up.
Yeah, you should totally read it. It's so funny. The Outsiders.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's like, I think that's one of
Oh
the
my
few
gosh.
books that I've read over and over and over again.
That is one you could just pick up any time and read it.
Yeah,
It is. It's a classic.
exactly. It's such a good book, and I think I read it for the first time when I was in 4th grade, and I cried after I was done.
I think it was required reading for the longest time. Like,
Actually, I wasn't required to
Really?
read it. I just randomly picked it up because I used to go to, like, we would go to the library on a regular basis and just get like tons and tons of books.
you're
And
so lucky you got to go to the library. My mother told me that they charged at the library, so we couldn't go.
are you serious?
Oh my gosh, and nobody read in my house.
Oh, there was like a point in time like where we lived just a few blocks like within walking distance of a library, and we would take our red wagon empty and then like fill it up and then pull it back home.
Imagine my surprise when I found out the books weren't.
That's so mean.
I know.
That is such a mean
I remember my
thing.
grandmother taking me to is downtown. Do you remember? Wars downtown. You don't know if you remember these people.
Oh yeah, it was here like right when I moved here, and it was like maybe that was like the last year. It was
and
here,
she bought me Earthquake movie book by Charlton Heston.
Okay.
And don't tell your mother about your book.
What?
Yeah, there was nothing. My mother just thought it was like a waste of time. Learn numbers. Like we had to learn math because I came from a family of accountants and bookies too. Yeah. So learn numbers. You have to learn numbers. I mean, like I learned to add like faster than someone could key it into a calculator, like off the top of my head because I had to add up the numbers that my family used to take. But yeah, it was all about numbers.
Oh man.
So reading books that didn't apply to everyday life just.
That's nuts. I couldn't imagine because, like I said, we read constantly.
And I couldn't imagine my kids growing up not reading.
Right.
You know, I mean, like, I don't know. That's why I started to write because I couldn't read anything. So
yeah, that's a trip. So you started making up your own stories.
Yep, that's what I did.
What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
That's right. Disaster in the Liberty Tubes was my first.
Disaster in the Liberty Tubes.
Charlton Heston came to the rescue.
What happened in the Liberty Tubes? Did they just implode?
They imploded. It was a truck, a gas tanker that hit the wall and exploded and collapsed the Liberty Tubes, and people were stuck inside.
And that's what everybody's afraid of, and why they go so slow.
You know what's so funny is like my book, When the Ashes Fall, it takes place with a nuclear strike in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And it takes place with people that happen to be in the middle of the tunnel during the nuclear strike, and they're stuck in there because it does offer you some sort of a sense of protection for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the radiation, because the air drafts will really eventually filter its way through, so they had to get out after so long. But that's a lot of people that have read it from Pittsburgh are like, oh, you didn't say exactly what the landmarks were except for the Liberty Tunnels, but we were like pegging them on the journey all the way through. And I included a map.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's always helpful. Which is, I wish I could find a map for The Walking Dead because I don't understand like a lot of
it's a big circle. Just go to Georgia and draw a big circle around Atlanta.
Okay. All right. I did 3. The fourth one, I guess, would be Psycho by Robert Bloch.
Okay.
I thought that was a really well written
You
novel.
like those mind thriller books?
Yeah, I do.
You
Actually,
like to be challenged.
I like. Yeah. It's mostly like. Yeah, like the mysteries, and it's also the same with movies. I prefer like psychological thrillers.
Shutter Island.
Yeah.
That stays with you for like weeks. Am I really doing this? What if I just killed that dog and I don't know I killed that?
Which like reminds me like American Psycho.
Yes.
Like I still don't understand. Like, did it all really happen, or was this all just part of his like breakdown in his head?
I think that it was all part of the breakdown in his head.
Okay.
That's what I like to believe.
Yeah, because and it's always because I always kind of forget too because I haven't watched it that many times, but every once in a while I'll watch it, and then I'll get to the end. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. There's no real clear.
Yeah, they don't. That's the thing about mental illness like that. I mean, like that's scary. That is really scary to not be in control of your mind.
Right. That's one of the things that I'm most afraid of
Yes.
about growing older is like that will be the thing that goes. Like I will be fine not being able to like move around too much. I think there was like I saw some random question like when you get older, would you rather have the mind of a 30-year-old or a body of a 30-year-old?
I'd rather have the mind.
Yeah, much rather have the mind.
I mean, if you look at like I work with a lot of Alzheimer's residents, and one of the things that is a common thing that you see is people that just did their day-to-day jobs, like bus drivers, like bank tellers, that did not use. I'm not saying this is a role for it, but what I've seen, like the ones that just had their everyday jobs that shut down at 6 p.m. and didn't do anything but watch TV or listen to the radio. These were the folks that we saw. The ones that did not shut down at 6 p.m. And just maybe read until kept their mind going.
Yeah.
The brain is a muscle. You got to keep.
Oh
working
yeah,
it,
definitely.
And I look at my mother-in-law, who's really my former mother-in-law, but I still in contact with her. Almost 90 years old, sharp as a whip.
Yeah.
And every day she does crossword puzzles, reads. I mean, she just she's so fearful of losing her mind. She works on her mind constantly.
That's what you got to do. You just got to keep it in motion. You got to constantly learn something new. Just exercise in your mind and do something.
You got to do something every day. That vegging in front of the TV, or it's okay once a week. But I mean, like these people come down home at 6 o'clock and do nothing.
Yeah,
they do nothing.
And that was one of the things that, like my first marriage. That's one of the things that bothered me because he had like a regular 9-to-5 job, which, fine, but he really had no interest in doing anything beyond that. And he was like a talented musician, and it would just bug the hell out of me because he wouldn't do anything more. He'd just come home from work, sit down, watch TV, and just be like bitching about the job the rest of the day. But in the meantime, I'm like I have my 9-to-5, but I'm still like doing other things too. And it's just like, I just hate seeing like talent be wasted. And just sitting around and doing nothing and being okay with that.
I mean, do you want to be 75, 80 years old, looking back at your life and saying, wow, I spent so much time doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you want to have some sort of real stories to tell, some real memories to draw back on.
You want to leave your mark.
Yeah, exactly. And, I guess the last book, I read this within the last year, How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston.
I can relate to that.
This book is hilarious. It's basically, it's satire. It's tongue-in-cheek, of course. But it also has a lot of truths. Like on the back, there's, have you ever been called too black or not black enough? Have you ever befriended or worked with a black person? Have you ever heard of black people? If you answered yes to any of these questions, this book is for you.
Oh, my gosh, that's hysterical.
And it's just like...
Is it like that movie that's
out? What movie? Not Blackish.
No,
the show.
It's a comedy that's on Amazon.
Oh, Dear White People?
That's it.
No, it's not that, but it's kind of like in that same,
Oh
but
my
not even,
gosh.
this is just so funny. And, there's things like, and it's just so truthful. There's like, when you find yourself being like the only black person, the few, like one of the only few black people that you work with, and you're at like the Christmas party, the company Christmas party, and
or the wedding,
you don't want, and you're like everybody's expecting you to like be the greatest dancer on the dance floor,
or if you go to karaoke, they expect you to be the greatest karaoke singer.
Thank you.
There's so much stereotyping.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, but I'll tell you what, this name, Baratunde Thurston.
Baratunde Thurston, yes.
Well, at least he's an expert in his field.
Yes, exactly.
But I mean, you're right. Like. People seem so shocked to carry on. Oh, yeah, when like a black man will get up and he can't sing.
Yeah.
Like, my God.
It's like, how dare you?
How dare you sing badly
exactly.
or not dance?
Exactly. And it's like, and I can sing ish. Like I can carry a tune, but I've never there's no way in the world I would ever try to pull off a Mariah Carey song or Aretha Franklin or I stay in my lane.
Yeah,
I know what I'm
like,
good at.
What was that? The song, I can't remember the name of it. It was like, oh God, it's the most popular song there is. It was, I'll think of it. But it's a popular karaoke song. You see a painted sign at the side of the road. It says Love Shack.
Love Shack.
You'll be one of them Love Shack girls. Love Shack.
Absolutely not, because I can't do it. I've tried to do it at home. Like I love karaoke.
Oh, that actually looks really interesting. How to Be Black. Joking around that I can relate. I will.
You should totally read it.
I will download it on Kindle.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if there's any stereotypes for white people. We can't dance. We really can't.
There's like a bajillion stereotypes for you guys.
We can't dance. We can't dance. I'll be the white girl dance. Was it Barry Manilow? Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, yes. So Jackie just went and saw Barry Manilow the other night.
Him.
How did that, like, were you always a Barry Manilow fan?
Always.
Like not ironically?
I was always a fan-low. Back to Charlton Heston again. When I was a little girl, my aunt was 8 years older than me, and she was going to take me to see Earthquake. I was just so little, but nobody wanted to go see it. But she goes, "I'll take her." The Warner Theater downtown. And I was sleeping over at my grandmother's house, and she was getting ready what the 18-year-old girls do, and I woke up to hearing Barry Manilow's Mandy, and from that moment on, I was hooked, and I kind of like attributed that to Charlton Heston. So I've always been a Barry Manilow fan. So my daughter's like, Mom, who's a Barry Manilow fan? Mom, oh my God, Barry Manilow's coming to town. Can you get the tickets? And I'm like, well, yeah, let's go look. So we looked. And then section 100. I don't want to sit in nosebleed because I have this fear of falling over.
Oh, yeah,
me
too.
Especially there at Console Center.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay, I'll get them. Right now I don't have time. I'm doing this. She goes, don't forget. I won't forget. Well, last week she shows up at my show. She goes, we're going to Barry Manilow. I didn't buy the tickets. Ooh. And she's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, honest, Allie, I totally forgot. I assumed I did. You know,
Oh.
so we went online right there, and the only ones that were available were nosebleed. And I'm like, well, let me see how much premium tickets are. I said, because we're going to pay $135 a ticket before to be in 100s. Let me see how much premium is. Maybe I'll bite the bullet. Yeah, if not, we're just going to sit nosebleed with Rob. Clicked on premium. Second row, center, 135.
What?
I don't know what happened. I bought them right
You're
there
like-
and then. Right there and then I bought them because it was the same price I was going to pay. I found that the people next to us paid $500 for their seats 3 weeks
Shut
ago.
up.
They were just clearancing them just to sell them out. And we lucked out like 4 days before the concert getting them that cheap.
Oh, my God.
So we were thinking, I could touch him. I could touch him. I could smell his cologne. I could see the makeup on his face. I'm still not convinced he sang, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was lip singing.
No.
Yeah, but it was great. Just
Was
to
it a
get us
great
present.
show?
It was a fantastic show. It really was a fantastic show.
Because I'm sure it's just like gotta be like all sorts of like Vegas like.
It was. It reminded me like I went to see Johnny Mathis with my mother when my mother was my age and I was my daughter's age, and I can remember Johnny did this little like hip thing, just kind of like for a 70-year-old man. And all these women went crazy, right? Barry did the same thing, and all these women went crazy. My daughter went crazy. I took her to see Wayne Newton, and she was like a teenager screaming for Wayne Newton.
Are you
She
serious?
loved Wayne Newton. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
I lied to my kids when they were younger. When my girls were little, I told her that Wayne Newton was the next boy band, and that Barry Manilow was a boy band. So my kids.
So you got her at school looking. Oh wait, she was homeschooled.
No. This one was when school. She's like, oh my god, did you guys hear the latest Wayne Newton song? Daddy, don't you walk so fast? It's so good.
You. Oh. And on that note, Jackie's a liar. So she lied to her children.
I lied to my children. Lots.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
For coming.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
over and being on my show.
Good luck editing this thing.
It's not going to be too bad because I just let it go for the most part. Like unless it just gets really terrible, then I'll edit it. But for the most part, I just let it go.
Well, that's good.
So it's all
and I
gonna be
didn't
out
even
there.
swear. I don't think I did.
Way to go! Congratulations. Thank you, Jack. Oh, before we go, like where can people find you? Your social medias and your websites.
I am Jackie Druga on Facebook, at GoJake on Twitter, jackwillendruga.com, and beginningsbooks.com.
And when and where can we listen to your podcast?
Prepper.
Apocalypse Nana.
You can listen to Apocalypse Nana. You can do downloads on it, but it's on live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Prepper Broadcast Network.
Awesome. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
This has been a Rugged Angel production.